What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are reviewing this Iceco APL 37 quart or 35 liter dual zone fridge. Just to be transparent, Iceco did send me this fridge free of charge in exchange for doing a review and kind of essentially a walk around of it. So today we're going to look at what makes this fridge so awesome, why I selected it, and what the application is going to be. Basically going to the back of my 80 series Land Cruiser here. There's a lot of different fridges out in the market. I've had the Ironman Ice Cube 50 liter fridge. And I just decided that 37 quarts or 35 liters is pretty much the perfect size for what I do. I'm only out for, a day or two at a time. So I wanted something nice that was going to last for a long time, that had a good compressor, and that would just work well. So this fridge weighs in at only 32 pounds, which is pretty darn light as far as these fridges go. It's aluminum construction all around, and I think it actually looks really nice. Not that looks are really pertinent to the function of a fridge, but it's going to look nice in the back of my 80 series Land Cruiser. It came packaged very securely, and all of the reviews that I've read about the customer service from Iceco are outstanding. So we're in the back of my garage here. It's around 40 degrees here in northern Idaho, so the ambient temperature of the fridge is already relatively low. I want to use my Jackery here to plug it in and see how fast it can get down to whatever temperature I select it to. What comes with the fridge is going to be these two chargers. Now this is an AC charger. So this is your typical plug that you would plug into your house, AC power 110, 120. Comes with a little power pack. I'm not sure what the power supply pack. And then this will plug right here into the front of the fridge if you want to utilize your AC power. If you're using an inverter or anything like that, there will be some power loss going from AC power into the fridge from whatever power source you select. Again, I'm just using my little 300 watt Jackery that I've had for a couple years now, and it works great for charging cell phone devices, but I have a feeling it's probably going to be a little underpowered as far as the total watt hours when powering a fridge like this. I don't know how many watts it's going to draw upon startup or when it's fully down to temperature, but we'll test that in a sec here. What I'm interested is charging it with this cigarette socket or DC input. So this will go again onto the front of the fridge here. So we'll plug it in right next to this power port here. It does have a port for a USB charger, so I think you could charge any devices off of this if you need, but I don't think that's really realistic for the application I'm going for. I've already got another power source, but kind of a cool little thing to note there. So we're going to plug this into our Jackery cigarette port, and my Jackery stated charge is around 86%. Again, 300 watt hours, not that much, but should be enough to power up this fridge. So we'll put our Jackery on, and we saw there that the LED screen lit up. We're going to push the power button, hold it on for a couple seconds, heard it beep. We have our screen here which will show us the temperatures for the fridge and the freezer. So we're currently at 46 and 44. I just heard it come on and it's very quiet. You probably won't even be able to pick it up on the microphone, but it is going. On the Jackery it shows that we're drawing 17 watts, going up to 19. So I'm going to go into my settings here with the settings button. I have it set to -4 degrees on the freezer side and 21 degrees on the fridge side. So we'll actually go up to about 34 degrees, 35 degrees on the fridge side, because we don't want our fridge portion of this to be frozen. We do want our frozen part to be able to freeze ice cream and that kind of stuff. So we're drawing about 27 watts right now, and it's going to draw more power when it's getting down to temperature, obviously. Since we're starting at a relatively cold temperature, it's not going to have to work too hard to get down to that temperature. The fridge says it's pulling about 13.2 volts right now, but I did forget that it's in eco mode. So let's go ahead and set it to the regular mode and see if that makes any difference. Now I can hear the compressor kicking up, getting a little bit louder, and it's drawing 31, 48. We jumped to 48 watts on the Jackery with the regular mode, getting this down to temperature. While we're waiting for the fridge to get down to temperature, let's talk a little bit about what power sources you could use in your vehicle, or if you're using this in an RV or something like that. This, again, is a very small power source coming in about 300 watt hours, which is not enough to run this fridge for more than a few hours. Iceco does have their own lithium portable power bank in the PB1000. It's around $599, and it puts out about 1200 watt peak and about 800 in. So that would be a great option if you want to stay within the Iceco family using their own power pack. And they also make a 250 watt magnetic power bank that will just slap onto the side of the fridge here. Again, 250 watt hours, really not enough for any long-term use, but it is something you could make this portable with and take it with you if you want to be next to the campfire or whatever. They also have an 80 watt solar panel that you could plug into the portable power bank and charge with solar and possibly run it indefinitely depending on how much sunlight you're going to get. I'm not really interested in using solar in my setup because this is going to live in the back of my Land Cruiser and we don't get a whole lot of sunlight up here in northern Idaho, so I can't use it all year round, a solar setup. I'm going to be installing a lithium 12 volt 280 amp hour battery in the back of the Land Cruiser here with an inverter and a DC-DC charger coming from my start battery. For me, this is going to be the best option because then I can use my start battery via the alternator in order to charge the lithium battery, and 280 amp hours is like 3,500 watt hours. So for me, that's what I'm going to be doing. You can use whatever power bank you need, but that is something to think about with these, is that you're going to need some sort of power source and you're going to need to be able to recharge it if you're out on the trail. Again, this 37 quart fridge is going to be more than enough for me. I'll show you the space inside once we get chilled down here to give you an idea of how much stuff you can fit in there. But they also offer fridges from a 21 quart on the low side all the way up to a 95 quart. So they've definitely got a fridge that'll meet your demands. To put it into perspective, we have about 8 liters on the freezer side and 27 on the fridge side, and the website claims that it can go from 77 to 32 degrees in 11 minutes, which is pretty good. The Ironman 4x4 50-liter ice cube fridge I had before featured the Danfoss compressor. This particular Iceco fridge uses the patented C-Cop compressor, which they back with a 5-year warranty. One thing I definitely like about this compared to the last fridge is that instead of opening like this, it just opens to the side. It's got 2 latches here and opens sideways like this. I'm actually liking that a lot more for the setup I'm going to be using in the Land Cruiser. I'm going to be using some sort of a fridge slide, which Iceco also offers. They make drop-down fridge slides, but I actually just modified a regular fridge slide with some piano hinge to tilt down. With the way this opens, it won't really be necessary. The way the hinges work, it just stays open. You don't have to worry about it closing or flopping around, which is really nice. The seal here on the lid is really high quality, and I can tell that it's going to make a good seal on the mating surface, and we shouldn't have any issues with the fridge losing temperature. One of the biggest reasons I chose this particular fridge in their lineup is because you can use their integrated app to change the temperatures and switch from eco mode to regular mode. So let's take a look at the app. We go into our Iceco, and I've already registered it, and there's a Bluetooth setting which is going to search for the fridge, and we can see here we have it set to -4 degrees on the freezer side and then 31 degrees on the fridge side. We're currently selected in the left zone or the freezer zone, and that's why we're at -4 degrees. You can use this little thing to scrub your temperature to where you'd want it, or you can use the little controls in order to plus and minus it. We're going to keep it at 4 degrees to max it out, and actually I just heard it beep, so that means that we must be at -4, and we're at -29 on the fridge side. So we'll go to the fridge side, we'll move that up a little bit because we actually want that more at around, 37's good, so we'll keep it there. Every time I make a adjustment on the iPhone app here or Android app, I can hear it beeping corresponding on the fridge itself, so I know that it's working. And we're still pulling about 33 watts, which is probably about the homeostasis for this temperature. Remember that we're at -4, and I think what's happening is because the fridge shares one space inside, that the -4 is affecting the fridge temperature. So if we open it up, we can already see that there's ice crystals forming on both sides. So what I'm going to do is just adjust this up to around 6 degrees. And then I've just heard that the compressor has shut off, so that means that it's at a temperature at which it can just stay and not draw too much more power. So let's close it up. And it's actually showing -5 degrees now, so we've gone below the parameters of which it states it can go. And we're only drawing about 3 watts, so that's pretty much just to run the internals of the control unit, I would assume. We're at -6 now, so that's definitely enough to get things down to a really cold temperature. Again, for reference, here is a 1-gallon jug, and we have enough space in here for probably 3 of these, 4 if you stack them. And you can also fit a 1 gallon in the freezer section. You just kind of have to shove it in there a little bit. Again, for reference, we were at about 86% state of charge, and now we're at 81. To get it down to temperature, the compressor is just kicked on again, and we're at 19 watts. But we'll go ahead and put it on eco mode and see if that changes. So we're still pulling 46 watts on eco mode. I'm gonna have to mess around with it a little bit and see, oh, there we go, we're dropping down to 29. I think the main reason for the eco mode is just to give it a little bit of protection and not draw too much all the time if having it at those parameters is not your utmost intention. Another cool thing is if you go into more settings here, you can see that the battery protection is at medium. There's also a low and a high setting, and that's to protect your battery or whatever source it's hooked up to from dying. So being that this is plugged into a Jackery, we don't have to worry about that too much, but if you're plugged into your starter battery in some sort of configuration, those protection modes are going to make sure that you can start your battery and should shut off the fridge if it gets below a certain voltage. On the inside of the fridge here, it tells you the model number, 12 volts or 24 volts, the amperages, and then the R134 refrigerant style it uses, and then a nice little diagram of all the control units. And should you develop any error codes, it has all the error codes here and how to potentially fix them. And if you're a dummy like me and you don't know the proper storage parameters of certain foods, it has that as well, which is pretty cool. Here are your B codes if you want to scan them and download the app, or you can just search for them in the App Store. I think that having that app integration for the fridge is really nice. You can just have your phone mounted on the car mount up on the windshield and then control everything from there, which is really nice. This particular fridge retails for $599, but they have given me a discount code that you can use. I'll put it down in the description. It's Austin12, and that'll get you 12% off any of the fridges on their website. Overall, I'm really happy with the quality of this fridge and all the different features it has, and I'm really excited to start using it for my overlanding trips. I've got some really exciting stuff coming up for this Come and Swap Land Cruiser, including fabricating my own rock sliders and then installing front and rear bumpers from the Cruiser company. Anyways, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Iceco for delivering such a quality product. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one.